So it's been a few weeks since I made a video. I've had a lot of life changes, a lot of unexpected twists and turns in my story, or the story. You know, if I step into the non-dual, there is no me. The script has changed quite dramatically as of late, and I am just sitting back watching it. It's been a fantastic story, one that's been nail-biting and adventurous and so unexpected. I was living in Venice just 2 weeks ago, and a lot of stuff happened, and we had to make some big choices and ended up moving to Billings, Montana, where my husband's family is from and lives, and they're helping us out while we went through a big change in our business and had some big unexpected setbacks last year. But you know, that's the moral of what I want to talk about. I've talked about how I used to be the queen of manifesting and did all sorts of classes, spent so much money, and would have toted and told you I was all into manifesting just a year ago. But after a year like last year in 23, I've had so many dramatic things happen while studying under very famous manifestor teachers, taking daily courses and doing all the things to up-level my business. Everything but what I wanted happened, and huge dramatic life changes occurred. And so now I'm in a place of, I don't really believe we get to drive our fate. I believe that it is all destined, and it's up to us to like it or not. We get to be the ones that find bliss or not, but it's gonna go how it goes, whether we find bliss in the story or not. And so where I want to begin with this video is talking about Groundhog's Day. So ironically, I think I've talked about Groundhog's Day a little bit in my videos, but my husband and I have talked a lot about the metaphor of the movie Groundhog's Day. Now, funny enough, when I grew up in the 90s, we had HBO, and all summer long there wasn't a whole lot to do, but we would watch reruns of Groundhog Day, my brother and I, or my friends, and we'd watch it on repeat all summer long because it was on every day on HBO. And there was just this one summer where we sought to figure out how many times we could watch the movie, and then the movie's repeated within the movie. And so it was this like joke to watch Groundhog's Day as many times and try to figure out where we were in the movie. And you know, as kids, it didn't have any real relevant meaning to us. It was just a movie, and we thought it was funny. Well, then decades later, I get into my spiritual journey, and all of a sudden I start to see this Buddhist karmic lesson inside of it. You know, it's about samsaras and repeating cycles, and you don't advance until you've passed the test of bringing love and bringing awareness and bringing newness to each situation, because they're just on repeat. Well, funny enough, this lesson has been coming up a lot in the last year. We have talked about Groundhog's Day, the movie, and the whole samsara cycle a lot this last year, because it has become very obvious that there are lessons that just keep cycling. Now that I'm in my 40s, I can look back and see 4 decades of cycles, and then I can see generation cycles within my family, and then I can see cultural cycles, and you can look at historical cycles, and you start to notice that there's patterns and there's repeated lessons, and there's things that just seem to occur. And so within all of that, I started to wonder, maybe manifesting is a partial truth. There's truth to it, but maybe it's just a partial truth. Because of samsaras, because of cycles, I think we're on these hamster wheels in life until we break through and consciously learn our lesson. Well, funny enough, this last year changed my husband and I's life. in profound ways. And again, like we were talking about Groundhog Day, and late January, we realized we needed to make some big decisions and decided to move. Well, we didn't even like plan, like I wasn't thinking anything other than the move. And like we actually had planned to move on February 1st, but there was a storm. It was a historical storm in LA, and we weren't quite ready. So we waited till the 2nd, and as I'm getting in the car, we've got everything packed. We've already sold so much stuff. We're all ready to go. We're literally driving as far east as possible until we're tired, and then we were gonna drive the rest of the way to Montana the following day. Get in the car, and I have a message from my mom. Says, the groundhog didn't see its shadow, and she has sent me some Groundhog Day jokes. I'm like, what? It's Groundhog Day? It's 2/2. And I was like, of course, the synchronicity in moving on Groundhog's Day when we're going through this like total samsara lesson. Now, funny enough, I have been through some funny cycles in California. I've lived in California 3 times now, and all 3 times I have been through some of the craziest stuff that I've only been through in California, specifically LA. I've lived in LA twice, and one of the other times was in San Luis Obispo. But all 3 times I went through very similar stuff, and I struggled to get a job. I struggled with money, and I couldn't find somewhere to live. I had all these nail-biting situations, which I have never had in any other state. I've now lived in 4 states, never had that problem anywhere but in California. And you could say it's the expenses, the situations, but there has been so many uphill battles in California. Now, I've obviously lived there, so I did find homes, and the homes I lived in were pretty cool in each place. But something occurred where I lost my job in all three times, and then I was out of money and not able to get work until I moved. I had to move all 3 times because I couldn't get a job. And this time around, our business dried up because of the economy. And then LA had one of the biggest strikes that had a rippling effect. And no one could get even an Uber job. There was just thousands of people taking just the most standard jobs. And there was thousands of people applying just for base level jobs. And so there was just nothing to be had, and people are leaving LA by the droves. And so we were some of those people. But it was this Groundhog's Day thing. And as we're driving, we're heading east. We got all the way till Utah. We talked about Groundhog's Day. We're like, of course, we're leaving on Groundhog's Day, and this is a cycle. And I was like, okay, this is now 3 times I can see the same pattern, almost 3 decades apart. They're, 8 to 11 years apart, or staggered. But it was in my 20s, 30s, and 40s that I went through these situations in California. And so it begs the question of, what is there to learn? What is the samsara in this? What is the message? What am I not understanding? What am I here to know? What I can answer with is that every time I went through that, I encountered heaps of growth. My faith was strengthened. I met people that mostly were there just for a moment, but that had significant impacts. I was pushed to my biggest limits in California ever in my life. Like, I lived in Portland for 16 years and was never pushed as hard in Portland as I was for just a few months in LA. The second time I lived there, or the first time I lived there, second time in California. I have grown more in California and have only been able to live there just barely 2 years at a time. And what I see now as a lesson and a learning is just complete flow. And in terms of bliss, one of the ways to bliss is just accepting what is instead of fighting life. And I fought life so hard all 3 times, wanting life to go very differently than it did. I mean, I've never put more elbow grease all 3 times into getting jobs. And the second time I really went to some crazy lengths to get jobs, and it just didn't happen. But as soon as I surrendered, life took me somewhere else, and I got jobs like crazy. I had no problem getting jobs, and I had no problem rebooting my career, and money just started coming in the droves. But what I've learned is that life is going to push us, and it pushes every single one of us. And sometimes we fight back and we push harder. But I'm telling you, the way to find bliss, the way to beat the Groundhog's Day game, just like the movie, is to bring love and acceptance, to quit resisting it and quit fighting what it's doing to us, and stop saying, no, I really want to be here, I want it to go my way. As soon as we let go and say, okay, it's now moving me to Montana, it's now giving me this opportunity, maybe I have to let some stuff go in order to have that next journey. But when we let it all go, it opens channels and doorways and possibilities that we just never know what's next. And ultimately, we're not really looking to survive this thing because we know we're not going to. The ultimate thing that we're looking for is bliss. We want to feel good. We want to feel at ease. We want to drop into the awareness and remember that this is just a holographic dream. And if we're fighting so hard to make this dream go our way, we're stuck in it and we're miserable, and we're gonna keep encountering more obstacles. And obstacles are still gonna occur even when you find bliss, but the thing is, you're not so attached and you're not so involved, and you could care less whether you're going from, some beach house like we had to some house out on the ranch far away from everything. It doesn't matter. You can find bliss anywhere because you are bliss itself. And that is how the Groundhog's Day game is won, is by saying, yes, I love what is. I accept however this is. This guy is going to bug the shit out of me, and I'm going to still find a way to love and accept it and just go with it. Nope, I didn't get to stay in California for now. Nope, I didn't get to keep some of my pretty stuff, and I had to sell things in order to move. But it's all a dream, right? All of it's a dream. I even had to let go of my 2 pet snakes. But it's all a dream. It's just a dream of the mind in an infinite reality. So at some point in some future, I will probably have snakes again and reunite with that one soul. Because it's all us. It's all one thing. But for now, the only thing that matters is this. Being here now. Being with what is. Saying yes to how it is. Exactly as it is. In Groundhog's Day, he started to figure out that he wasn't going to change the way that the story went. It was just programmed to go the way it went. And after fighting with it and trying to avoid it, the more he could say yes, things didn't change. He just got more peaceful. And then eventually, after he brought love to every single part of his life, he got to the next day. And again, it's not like I'm trying to get to some goal. There's no more goal. I'm not trying to get anywhere because this is it. This is the completeness. It's just a matter of feeling better about it and enjoying what is. Oh, got a call. So I'm going to wrap this up. It's Groundhog's Day every day. A lot of us feel the monotony, and it actually literally feels like Groundhog Day. And then sometimes it feels like we're on this big adventure, and every new moment feels like this profound new epic thing. But often it's a cycle, and often we're chasing something, and we have FOMO, and we're hungry to feel something new and different. And it keeps us thirsty and salivating, and keeps us greedy, and keeps us, just wanting more and new and different. And that doesn't suffice. We're just looking for the thrill. I have been extremely guilty of this, wanting new and better and different. But it's when we come back to here, now, enjoy the low tide or the high tide or the ups and the downs and the in-betweens, and just however it is, the boring, the slow, the broke, the sick. When you just enjoy that and just say yes to that, it's true bliss. My hand is stuck, so have a good one.